That's a nice bag. I'm used to it. Sparring, man, it was just really bad because I wanted to impress my father the most. When I didn't perform at my best with him, or if I got hit and I didn't like it and I started crying, I would run away. I literally would run away from my father and everybody. They would look for me. This is me at 8 years old running away, my father having to call the cops, and I put my father through a lot of mess. You know, and I would cry all the time. I would embarrass him because I would cry while he was in the corner. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. And that's why I never really liked sparring. It wasn't because of that I wasn't good enough. I believe it was just the fact that I was so hard on myself.
There you go. 7. There you go. You're on another level back there. You gotta relax. You gotta hold your breath.
When you watch how Teofimo Lopez is preparing for Shakur, it's clear this camp isn't focused on raw explosiveness anymore. It's about learning to control his natural impulses.
Pero jamás, man.
You gotta listen to my mouth.
I haven't felt.
You need to go to the field and live in that fucking field. Okay. Live in it. Okay. No motherfucking, no health spa, no freaking none of that shit. Okay. No health quest. I want you living in that field. That's all we need, bro.
Coach ain't having it today.
No, bro, because I know I see what's going on, bro. 1, 2.
Come back with the hook.
Okay.
Slip, slip, slip.
Everything about this camp is pushing him toward a tough realization. Going all out early doesn't solve the Shakur problem, it only leaves you exhausted on camera. That's why the training now is intentionally uncomfortable, long, grinding rounds with nowhere to coast. No big moments to lean on, just non-stop movement, steady output, and throwing punches even when fatigue is screaming to stop.
The hardest parts for me was getting my butt whipped in sparring and losing. I hated losing. I hated failure. I always hated it because like I said before, I wanted to become a perfectionist.
It's the first time I ever felt like so out of it. So out of shape, bro. Like, and it's crazy. We've been working, so I can't quite understand it, but coach is like, we just gotta keep running. You know, I ain't doing enough of it, so. You know, but other than that, you know, it's just part of it. There's a reason why we start, you know, before, you know, we do all this stuff too, you know. It's to make sure that we prevent any of these things happening when it comes to an actual.
The biggest adjustment is unlearning an old habit, cutting off the ring, launching one big shot, then pausing to admire it. That doesn't work against Shakur anymore. The approach now is tighter footwork, shorter punches, and layered combinations. They won't make highlight reels, but they wear you down over time, even when they land on gloves, arms, or shoulders. It may sound dull until you realize those blocked shots still take ground and shut down escape routes. All of it is designed to disrupt rhythm. The footwork almost looks strange if you're used to Teofimo's highlight reel hops, because jumping is basically banned. Instead, it's slow, steady advancement, constant, patient pressure that never really leaves your head. In some ways, this camp might be tougher than any weight cut. He has to stop chasing knockouts and start thinking in terms of winning rounds, which is like asking a race car to sit calmly in traffic. The goal now is controlling tempo, applying pressure without punching, punching without rushing, and making Shakur uneasy without giving him clear patterns to read.
my mind is limitless, though, you know. So then again, it's like I could always succeed to another level with it, you know, and exceed to it. So it's really just trying to just keep it going, you know, keep moving forward throughout the whole time and throughout the whole process, and mainly just have fun with it. You know, you gotta have fun with what you do. You know, I love this. You know, I haven't stopped doing what I've done because of the fact that I enjoy what I do. You know, this has been 20 years in the making.
The opening rounds are valued more than ever, not because a knockout is required, but because they're the window to shake confidence before Shakur settles in. The real question isn't whether Teofimo can land something big. It's whether he can stay composed when nothing happens right away. The moment he hunts for a highlight, he's in trouble. But if he commits to patience, awkward pressure, and stubborn discipline, he gives himself a legitimate chance.
1, 2. Right hand again. Give me that right hand, baby. Give me that right hand.
Don't show it.
Don't show it. Okay, go. Come over here. Too fast with me. Go. Move that. That's it.
After breaking down Teofimo's camp, reshaping him from a highlight chaser into a calculated pressure fighter, Dan Rafael jumps in to remind everyone that this matchup carries more weight than diagrams and strategy talk. He points out something crucial that often gets ignored when the conversation gets swallowed by hot takes.
Teofimo has been a bona fide world champion in 2 divisions. He was the champion at lightweight. Had most of the belts, defeated Lomachenko. He did suffer the upset loss to Kambosos. There were some physical issues there that we didn't know about going into the fight, not to make excuses for him. But regardless, he came back.
He's shown time and again that he responds when the moment truly matters. He wasn't flashy after the Kambosos fight and didn't always look crisp, but when Josh Taylor was in front of him with everything on the line, Teofimo dialed in and performed. That's important, because some fighters elevate when the lights are brightest.
Even though maybe he didn't shine and scintillate maybe in some of those fights after that, when it came time to step up and take on the champ, which was Josh Taylor, he shined in that fight. So when Teofimo is matched, in a big time opponent, he's delivered, and he's done it, a number of.
At the same time, Dan noted that Shakur's resume tells a similar story, just more quietly. When criticism grew louder and people complained about his style, Shakur responded by standing his ground against Zepeda, essentially shutting that narrative down in the ring. What works about Dan's framing is that it avoids hype and instead highlights the irony. We talk like these fighters shrink under pressure, yet whenever expectations spike, both tend to adapt rather than break.
Shakur Stevenson gets the job done. He has won titles from featherweight up to lightweight. When his back was against the wall, quote unquote, and everybody had big expectations. What did he do in his last fight against William Zepeda? He stood in the pocket, he fought the guy, and he won handily. He shut him out basically. He won like 10 rounds to 2.
When Dan brought up their shared path, Top Rank, the Olympic system, the Crawford undercards, that's when this stopped feeling like a coincidence and started to feel unavoidable. 2 careers moving on parallel tracks finally crossing. And the point about the Garden landed for me, because New York doesn't applaud chaos. It responds to poise and control. That atmosphere will either refine Teofimo's pressure or completely smother it.
It started off, a little bit heavier than Shakur, but they would eventually catch up to each other. They're both Olympians, by the way. Teofimo he's American, but he fought for his parents' country of Honduras. In that same Olympic Games, it was Shakur Stevenson winning a silver medal for the United States. I mean, they have all kinds of accomplishment. I do think they have a healthy respect for each other.
Dan isn't hyping drama, he's giving perspective. And perspective is powerful because it removes excuses. No odd venues, no jet lag, no novelty crowd. Just 2 elite fighters, 5 minutes from home, competing where reputations are cemented. While we debate styles, Dan quietly points to the real story, credibility. Who can truly claim their past achievements when the lights are unforgiving? You can make jokes about boring or flashy fights, but at Madison Square Garden, history doesn't care about opinions. It only remembers who showed up when the stage finally demanded it.
Fight that belonged in America. America, and it didn't belong in Las Vegas. It belongs in New York City at Madison Square Garden. Teofimo is from Brooklyn. Shakur is from Newark, New Jersey, which is a 5-minute train ride from Midtown Manhattan. I mean, it's got everything you want to see. The Garden hasn't had a lot of big fights in the main arena over the last few years. The last one they had was the third fight between Katie Taylor and Serrano. But before that, it'd been, a couple years, I think, since they had a main arena fight. So this is a big time.
Right after Dan framed this as a clash of legacy, timing, and stage, Lonnie B jumped in and shook up the conversation. His focus isn't resumes, it's unpredictability. He called Shakur flawless, punches that come from nowhere with no hints or setups. On the surface, it sounds like a compliment, but it carries weight. Flawless fighters rarely get a second chance when something goes wrong. At the same time, Lonnie emphasized that Teofimo brings an athleticism you can't script, pure Roy Jones level energy, where anything can happen at any moment. That's what makes this fight messy, exciting, and impossible to fully predict.
You got, listen, both are extraordinary talents. Extraordinary talents. Shakur, oh my God, flawless. Don't telegraph his punches. They come right out the holster. They come right out the clip. You got Teofimo, who's extremely athletic. He reminds me of Roy Jones. You never know what he's gonna do. And it's kind of hard to train for somebody like that because you don't know what Teo's gonna show up.
I loved how Lonnie kept emphasizing that you never know which version of Teofimo will show up, not as an excuse, but as a caution. The Teofimo who rose to the occasion against Josh Taylor didn't ask permission, he just owned the night. Lonnie also made a key point. Teofimo tends to fight to the level of his opponent. Against someone like Shakur, that means you either rise to the challenge or look ordinary in slow motion. He also highlighted something often overlooked. Shakur can't afford to relax on the ropes. Once Teofimo gets comfortable, he becomes a moving problem, confident, relentless, and hard to contain. This isn't about fear, it's about rhythm.
Josh Taylor.
Okay.
Look what he did to Josh Taylor. Oh my God. I mean, just playing with him. Just hitting him with big shots, just doing whatever he wants, styling on him. So you can never count Teo out. You can never count Teo out, man. He's, like I said, an extraordinary talent, but so is Shakur. I do think Shakur can't lay on the ropes like he do. I think Shakur he got to be a lot more active this fight. Because once you let Teo get in this groove, he's a hard train to stop, man. And he's athletic. You never know what he's going to do.
What stuck with me was Lonnie refusing to pick a winner, calling it a coin flip. Not because he's unsure, but because he sees this as a battle of will disguised as skill. He put it plainly, it's not about who looks better on paper. It's about who channels that unshakable mindset, that Jordan, Kobe, I'm not losing tonight energy. And he's right, both fighters are elite, both are special, but only one will assert their will when comfort disappears. You can study tape and game plan all you want, but when the bell rings, someone's identity is being tested in real time. That's why Lonnie didn't hesitate at 50-50ths, it wasn't fence-sitting. It was respect for how razor-thin the margin really is.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I can't wait to see it. I got it a 50-50 fight, depending on who can impose their will.
50-50?
Yeah, I got it 50-50.
We don't got who gonna win? We can't go 50-50. Somebody gotta win it. This ain't not gonna be no draw.
See, like I'm just like I can't pick a winner because it's like I can see Shakur winning it, and I also can see Teo winning it.
Okay.
And I can see Shakur winning it. Then I can see Teo winning it. Then it's like, well.
Right after Lonnie framed it as a coin flip, will-driven fight, Zab Judah jumps in and changes the conversation entirely. He isn't speculating, he's talking fundamentals. Zab said plainly that Teofimo can't beat what he can't connect with. That's not hype, it's a veteran's insight. When Zab describes Shakur moving like he's in and out of the matrix, it isn't exaggeration. He's speaking from experience, feeling punches miss by inches while confidence wavers. Zab isn't doubting Teofimo's skill, he's pointing out a style mismatch. Shakur breaks opponents down structurally, piece by piece, which is terrifying for someone like Teofimo who thrives on rhythm and reaction. Zab also emphasized Shakur's mental steadiness. He doesn't have off nights, he doesn't get distracted, and he doesn't unravel, the opposite of the volatility people associate with Teofimo.
Teo's a good fighter, but this type of style Teo possesses, you're gonna break him up. You're gonna break him up. You can't beat what you can't hit. You can't. It is impossible. That boy ain't nothing to f around with.
Right.
Poor boy, he's something out of the Matrix Part 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, he, you know what I'm saying? He pulling shit away and hit you with, come on. I'm loving him. He's dope. I mean, I always spoke highly of him. Always.
When Zab mentions the Garden, he isn't just talking location, he's talking atmosphere. Newark, Brooklyn, New York, Jersey, winter jackets, a packed house, no neutral fans, pressure everywhere. He linked it to Bud Crawford's mentality, we don't do normal things. I laughed, because it really does feel like that camp dares boxing to keep up. Zab wasn't predicting a simple brawl, he was predicting suffocation. Teofimo keeps loading up, but Shakur slips away like the floor is shifting under him. What I liked most is Zab didn't hedge. He didn't call it 50-50ths. He said, dismantle. Harsh as it sounds, it shows how much faith he has in Shakur's ability to control a fight when styles clash so clearly.
Buddy McGirt says it has to happen in the Garden. What do you think?
100%. That only makes sense. That only makes sense. That's a Garden 100% fight. Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson. That's all of New Jersey, because Shakur represents more than Newark. You know, he was the whole New Jersey and then the whole New York clashing in New York City. I like it at the Barclays.
We can argue about power, speed, or highlight moments, but Zab's point is simple: moments don't matter if you can't connect. If Teofimo can't touch him, everything else becomes background noise. Put it all together, and the real story emerges. Teofimo is training to master his instincts. Shakur is built to punish them. And every voice we've heard sharpens that tension from a different angle. Dan focused on legacy and timing, Lonnie on will versus unpredictability, and Zab on the cold math of access and control. One fighter is trying to create controlled chaos without losing himself. The other is turning chaos into structure. This isn't hype versus boredom or flashy versus dull. It's discipline clashing with volatility under the brightest lights. Every round asks the same quiet question: who stays true when the plan starts to break down? That's why this fight feels unresolved. No matter how many opinions you read, it lives in margins, patience, and quiet moments that don't announce themselves. Drop your thoughts in the comments, debate it hard, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters. Catch you in the next one.